Hello and welcome everyone. It's Kathleen here on the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel for another YouTube live session. And I hope YouTube caught up. I hope everything's working fine. And yeah, today I have some more Christmas inspiration planned for you. Hold on, let me just check that my YouTube window is actually muted. Okay. Yeah, so I have some inspiration planned planned is kind of a stretch, with the August release. And I'm so happy that so many of you are already joining. Some of you were also part of our Create and Connect card making event over the weekend. So glad that you enjoyed the cards. I had a great time. I mean, I was wiped after the weekend, I'm not gonna lie, but it still was a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed making and teaching my cards. I enjoyed watching all of the other instructors and especially seeing all of your beautiful projects, of course. And speaking of card making event and also holiday stuff, our holiday card making event is also, there's one more card making event for this year and it's going to be holiday themed. And I will share a bit more information about that as we go along. It's not that I have a ton of information about that already, but at least a little bit. Okay, so let me just get, a few of the housekeeping things out of the way. As usual, we are giving away 4 $50 gift cards, 2 for the people in the live chat. And all you have to do is just be active in the chat. Every time you write something is another entry. And at the end of this session, Jody, who is behind the Pinkfresh Studio name, is going to randomly pick 2 winners who will receive a $50 gift card to the shop. And then if you're watching the replay, you also have the chance to win one of 2 $50 gift cards. And all you have to do is just leave a comment on the replay below the video. And yeah, that's it basically. So just let us know when you give this video a thumbs up, when you share it with someone, when you follow us, all of the good things. And then I thought I would also let you know that we decided to extend this promo right here. Hold on. This one. Kind of weird doing this whole mirrored thing. So we extended the freebie promo. We have a few of those left up for grabs, and it actually expired yesterday, but we have just a few left, and we decided we wanted to, give all of them a good home. So you still have the chance to get one of those free exclusive dies with a value of $28. So it's never been released before, and all you have to do is or it's valid for purchases of $50 or more from the new August release. And you have to add this freebie from the pop-up to your cart before you check out. That's very important because we cannot add this freebie once you've placed your order. And if you are not seeing the freebie pop up, then make sure that you have, no pop-up blockers and cleared your cache, all of that stuff. And yeah, I think that's mostly it. Now, let me just move you around a little bit. And I'm going to show you what product suite I will mainly feature from the new release, and it's the Christmas lights. We've seen lots and lots of beautiful inspiration with the whole release already. Some of the products are, of course, always a fan favorite, so there are more projects with it, and just, they are sort of an obvious favorite. And then some products sometimes maybe need a little bit more of the or you might need to see them in action sometimes. So I thought I would show you the Christmas lights product suite, which is a stencil and die suite. And to be honest, I had about 1 million ideas right before I started the live. So we will see what I decide on. I still, like, I have a whole stash of dies that I grabbed. The freebie die, so I don't have the freebie die myself. It's that exclusive. But it basically cuts, hold on. It basically cuts sort of a folded tag or a folded pocket, and you have a few different dies that you can then add to cut little windows. So you could use them for like adding on a gift as a gift tag, to put in a gift card, or also for mini albums if you're a scrapbooker, or you can also use those little little dies for the windows for different pieces, so you don't have to use them all together. Lots of different ideas. Now back to my desk. Okay, so I thought I would show you this, and if I have, like, as I said, I have lots of different ideas. I won't be able to do all of them in this live, but maybe I will actually get to show you 2 different uses for this product suite. One where I will show you how to use it together with the stencil, and then one with just the die, maybe. We will see. So I already went ahead and die cut this before, and to be honest, I didn't do a good job because I was too lazy, and I should have known better, but I was too lazy to tape it down, like tape my panel down, because my panel was exactly A2 size, and this die also is A2 size, and it's actually one of the very few Coverplate dies that cuts the outline. And so my panel shifted slightly, really just slightly, but so it cut one of the lines a little bit diagonally. So I will have to slightly trim that panel down, but not right now. I'm just going to go ahead and first ink blend, and then we will see what we can do with it once I have that done. Now, for ink blending, of course, I didn't grab my... Hold on, give me a second. There it is, just to secure my panel down. So this is also an A2 panel already. And that's a good idea, Jody, to die cut a few of them at one time. So Jody says die cut a few of those panels and then put all of them on top of each other, and then you can poke out all of the lights at once. So yeah, I didn't think of that. You could have told me earlier, Jody. We talked about it. No, you can't. So Kathy, you can't cut 5 at a time. That's not what Jody meant. She meant, you cut 5, one after the other, and then you place those 5 die cuts on top of each other, and then you can use your pokey tool and just poke through 5 at a time. So that's what Jody meant. Okay. Okay, so the die, as you can see, cuts out the light bulbs, and it leaves these cute little strings of light, and also the, like, I don't even know what that part of the light is called, but that part. And then it cuts out the lights, and you get 2 layering stencils that you can then use to color in all of those cute little lights. And then you have, as usual, you have the registration marks in the corner to line up your stencil. I mean, if you use a panel that is larger than A2, you could just, or you could also cut it to exactly the same size as the stencil. And that way you would just line up the stencil with your panel. And these 2 stencils are, so they don't layer the different lights on top of each other, but rather you get like one opening for each light. I don't know if I explained that well. Okay, so I also need to pick my inks. I haven't done that, but I thought we would go with a more, not muted, but also not super bright color scheme. So we will see how it goes. So let me just quickly grab, let's see. I'm gonna grab the lightest color of some of the color families. Not for each one. Sorry for the shaking. But we will try with sort of a pastel color scheme. And then, oh no, you lost your pokey tool. You need another one. Because I can always go darker. So if once I place this on top and I feel like maybe it would look nicer with really bright colors, I can do that. But I can't really go lighter, you know. So let's also grab some brushes for those colors. And you can definitely also do, or maybe, hold on. So what you could do is you could either use like one color for each bulb. So, I mean, not 20 different colors, but just like yellow here, there, and so on, until you have all of the light bulbs filled. Or you could also go more in like over these lights and just do like an ombre. Maybe I try that. Yeah, Kathleen just said you could also combine it with the shadow box frame and put little lights in it. That is actually one of the ideas that I had, but to be honest, in a 1 hour YouTube live, I wouldn't have enough time to make the shadow box, do all of this. I didn't have lights here, but yes, that is definitely one thing you could and maybe should do with this Christmas lights product suite. So I'm debating whether I should do them all individually or, just go a little bit here and there. So I think I'm just going to go a little bit here and there. Like, not crazy, but do like the yellow. So I have lemon whip, lightest yellow. I'm just going to do this in this corner here. And then I will move on to the peach fuzz and do it over here. And as I said, you can definitely go in and fill them all individually so it looks more like this, like an actual string of lights where you have those alternating colors. Now, let's see. I hope my brush isn't too stained anymore. Hold on. I don't want it to become too dark, so I'm just rubbing it off a little bit. Yes, and speaking of our wonderful brushes, I think, let me check before I tell you something that is not correct. Let me see. Yes, I think they are all back in stock. So I think we just got a restock just like an hour or something ago. So yeah, if you wanted to grab some of the 1-inch blending brushes or the 1/4 inch, those were also sold out. They are now back in stock. So let's see. I don't really have a lot of space left, so we will see if I will bring in both colors. I'm gonna do the Ocean Breeze here because I don't want the green to mix with the pink or with the ballet slipper, because that wouldn't, produce a very pretty color. Hold on, wrong brush. So just a little bit of Ocean Breeze, because if you pick like a blue, like Ocean Breeze, it will mix nicely with yellow because it will make green, but it will also mix with the pink because it will make more of a purpley tone. So try to keep that in mind when you do something like this, where you have colors mixing and blending into each other. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. It doesn't look like much, I agree. But now you can take stencil number 2. Just make sure, because right now we have nothing to line it up with other than the registration marks. So that is the only thing you have to keep in mind with this product suite, because sometimes you have a stamped image that you can use to line it up, or like a die. But for this one, we only have this because we only add this on top, and we couldn't put in any alignment triangles or anything, because obviously you might be able to see them if you want to use this as a panel. Now, I will make sure for stencil number 2 to use these colors in the same areas. So I had yellow up here, so I don't want to bring in the pink, for example, up there. I want to keep it similar, because I'm going more for this overall rainbow effect rather than varying the light bulbs from one to the other, if that makes sense. So grabbing Peach Fuzz for the upper right corner. And again, I haven't tried this. I don't know if in the end it will look like I see it in my mind. If I want to do the bulbs, I would need a really small brush. No, the 1/2-inch brushes are totally fine to do the individual bulbs. You don't need I mean, you could of course use the 1/4-inch brushes, but you would be totally fine with the regular 1/2-inch brushes. And even if you want to alternate them and you're afraid of like accidentally coloring one of the bulbs with a color you didn't want, you can just grab a scrap piece of paper, cardstock, masking tape, whatever. Of course, I have nothing right here. And you could just mask off that. Let's say I want to color this one. I could just quickly mask this off, color it, and then do this, color it, you know. So you don't really need a really small brush, and you also don't need to mask them all off individually. That would take a lot of time, and I think it's not necessary. Okay, so I tried to have everything sort of in the same areas. And please remember, if you have any questions, it would be really helpful if you put the word question in all caps at the beginning, so it's easier for me to see them when I glance at my screen. So the colors I used, I ended up not using the green, which was Fresh Pear, but I didn't use it. So I ended up using Lemon Whip, Peach Fuzz, Ballet Slipper, and Ocean Breeze. And I will add them to the video description after this live is over. Because, as I said, before the live, I had no idea what sort of colors I would choose. So let's see. Remember, it probably won't look like much until I put this over. So, but at least I got this sort of rainbow gradient that I was going for. And when we put this on top, I think it looks really, really nice. So let me just, hold on, grab this. And then you can place this on top, and you have these beautiful, colorful light bulbs. And you could even maybe cut 2 or 3 of them and stack them up to have lots of dimension and have even more sort of a shadow in between. Or you know, it would be a little bit tedious, but I would probably do it. You could also add foam adhesive in between those lights and then pop it up. So, and I think this turned out really nice. I really like the colors, even though, you know, it's not like alternating. Or you could also do, you could also back them with pattern or with colored cardstock, or even more fun, you could go like one row in gold, of course glitter cardstock, because I mean it's Christmas, you know, it's the time for glitter and sparkle. And then you could do another row in a different color, and so on and so forth. Hold on. I'm just checking. I thought I saw something. No, I think, yeah. If I missed your question, then please just ask again. Okay, so you can see this was, I mean, how long did this take? I don't know. I've been talking quite a while, so this took maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8-ish minutes to create this and this background. And to be honest, you could even just like pop a sentiment on here, put it on a card base, and you're pretty much done. So this is a great thing, or a great product suite for mass production, because you could even, if you don't want each light to be a different color or like a specific color, you could even go ahead and ink blend the whole panel and then adhere this on top. So you could skip the stenciling part if you wanted to really mass produce, and then just cut a bunch of these and then put this on top, put a sentiment on top, and you're good to go. So yeah, I think this is a great product suite for mass production. Now, let me just, so I think I will actually, so you can see when I put it on top here, you can see that the panel underneath is a little bit smaller. That's because as I said, I didn't secure this down and it shifted. So I will have to slightly trim this down, but I'm thinking I might be able to keep this A2 and just trim this down. So I would have like a little frame. So let's try it. Because I want it to be straight, and you can see when I put it in here, you can see that this is not a straight line. This one is. So let's see. I don't want to trim the top and bottom right now, because then I would cut into the lights. I could definitely add a frame on top, yes. There are lots of different ways to, you know, kind of remedy this situation. So I'm thinking, let's see, because I also grabbed, but where did I put it? Here. I did grab one of our rectangle frame dies, and I could die cut a frame to put on top and kind of hide my little mistake. How many does one need of the brushes? I think you are probably referring to the, I don't know if you're referring to the 1-inch brushes or the smaller ones. So for the 1-inch, I have, hold on, 6. I have 12, and I feel like that's a good number to sort of cover lots of different color families, like blues, pinks, and so on. Maybe 3 more, because they come in packs of 3. Maybe 3 more would be ideal for me, because I use certain dark colors a lot, like Raspberry Bliss, the pink, or like Stargazer, and then I could keep 1 brush for the really dark blues, for example, and then keep one for the really light ones. But in the end, if you only use one for each, you can definitely make that work, because you can see, so let's take this one. This one looks really saturated. And if I wipe this off, there will be some ink coming off. But you can see it's not a ton. And then when I grab some scrap cardstock, or just, copy paper, you can see even when I rub this over this paper really hard, it barely colors it. So even if they look stained, they often don't give off a lot of color, unless you, of course, ink them up again. Okay. Okay, let's see. I think I'm gonna cut a frame using this. And I'm thinking maybe I want to do one from glitter cardstock, because I don't have any glitter here, but again, it's the holidays. Glitter is always great. And I'm thinking of maybe using this one. I think it's the ivory glitter cardstock, because it has sort of a few different colors in here. Do you recommend cleaning them with water? No. No. Don't clean them with water. Never ever soak them with water. That's really important. Actually, it's completely fine if you just rub them off on like a dry cloth, or maybe a damp cloth that you spray it with a little bit of stamp cleaner. But other than that, you don't need to do anything to clean them. And if you soak them with water, the problem is that this, of course, is wood. And so this handle right here, and of course, wood, if you put it in water, it will soak it up, so it will expand, and then it will break your brush, which is, to be expected if you put something like wood in water. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with this one and cut a frame. And this time, I am going to tape my dies down so that I don't end up having to cover up my mistake on the piece that I wanted to use to cover up my mistake. And I'm going to go ahead and first die cut this, and you could tape them both together, but with glitter cardstock, obviously low-tech tape won't stick, so I will first cut this and then the other one. And I have to do this behind me because there is not enough space to do this on my other desk. So this is just, now I have a panel, but if I want to use this, so these were the single stitch rectangles, but I can use the next smaller one and cut a frame, which I'm gonna do. And again, I will tape this down. Question, do you keep separate brushes for distress ink and your dye inks? I only use dye inks, so for me, it doesn't apply. I don't know how other people do it. The only thing, because in the end, distress inks, aren't distress inks not also just dye inks, a different type of dye inks? So what you definitely should keep separate are brushes for dye inks versus pigment inks. But for distress, I'm not sure, to be honest, because I think they are dye inks. Okay, now, so you can see, I'm not sure if I'm liking the frame, to be honest, because it kind of takes away from my beautiful lights. So maybe I will just trim both of them down and just have a panel that is a little bit smaller than my card base. So let's say I will use this as a card base. I will just have the card base as a frame. If you will see in a second what I mean, if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Now I do want to pop this up with a little bit of foam adhesive, but I want to make sure that I cut them both correctly. So I will just tape them together. And so I will cut into some of the lights. That's fine. It's, I decided that I would rather have that than put the frame, because I didn't like the look of the frame. But I can keep this for a different project, not a problem. It's not wasted. So I'm just trimming this down, like I didn't measure. I just trimmed a little bit off here and there. So let's see. Have to take off the low-tack tape. Question, what about oxide inks? No idea. I think for oxide inks, to be honest, I think I wouldn't use blending brushes. I'd rather use foam applicators, because oxides are a little bit more chalky. I've never tried the blending brushes with oxide inks, so I can't, I can't give you a real recommendation. It's just a thought. Okay, yeah, I think I prefer that, to be honest. And then I can pop up this with foam, because I like dimension. Not a secret. And for this one, I'm actually going to do quite a thick layer of foam. And then in between the ink blended lights and the cover plate on top, I will use a thinner layer of foam, because if it's too thick, you would probably be able to see the foam, from the sides through the lights, if you know what I mean. This, and just so that it doesn't sag in the middle, one for good measure. I don't like to, overdo it or like waste my foam, but I also don't want the card panel on the card base to kind of sag in one place. So I just have a regular A2 size card base, side folding card base from white cardstock, and I will try to put this down as centered as I can, because of course, once again, I forgot to only take off part of the release paper, but it looks like I got it quite centered quite well. Okay, and then for this one, I'm only going to use the thinnest foam adhesive I have, which is 1 millimeter. You could definitely skip this if you don't want the dimension, or are not a fan, or don't have this thin of a foam adhesive. You can absolutely skip this part. Now I have these sort of ready-made strips, and especially the thinner ones are quite bendable. So I can kind of, move them around a little bit so that I don't have to go and snip 1,000 of these little strips to go in between the lights. So I will just try to get it, a good coverage. And I'm trying to not to go too closely to some of the lights so it doesn't show. But yes, I would definitely love to see this product suite used with actual lights. I don't have any that I could use on a card, like those really small ones that are made for card making. I don't have them, but I think this product suite just screams for it. Okay, almost done. I know it's a little bit fiddly to watch this, but I can't really do this later. Okay. And maybe just one in here and that's it. Okay. So now just make sure that you have it the right way around, because there isn't like a top and a bottom, so to speak. And lining this up. And I like how it gives this little bit of added shadow. It's not a ton, but it's definitely a different look than just putting it flat on top of the ink blended part. Now, let's see what we want to do for a sentiment. And I think that this background is sort of the star of the show, so I don't want anything that, you know, that kind of overpowers it or that covers all of this beautiful background up. And as I said, I think you really don't need much a sentiment and you're pretty much done. And that's what I also wanted to show you, that Christmas cards, although of course there are tons of Christmas cards that are really intricate with lots of details, lots of ink blending, die cutting, hot foiling and so on, are definitely really, really beautiful. But sometimes you want something that's a little bit more on the quicker side, but still has sort of makes an impact, and that maybe you can mass produce. So that's why I thought I would show you this idea today. And I had this sentiment already made with the Once Upon a Holiday sentiment set, also from the new release. There's a press plate or a stamp set available with coordinating dies. And I had this one already made with gold foiling. So I thought, you know, maybe I would just use that. And again, pop it up. If I know that we have quite a bit of foam on this piece already, I'm good with it. If you definitely can skip parts of this. I think the most important foam layer probably in this whole card is the one between the ink blended piece, like the ink blended background, and the die cut piece. I think that is the one that has the most impact and that I wouldn't skip, because actually this was only 1 millimeter foam. So it's the thinnest one and should be good for, you know, still for putting it in an envelope and mailing it. Okay, so hold on. What to do? Hold on. Of course, I already pulled up the backing of my foam adhesive, or at least parts of it. So let's see. Do I want to put the sentiment on directly, or maybe with a little bit of a layer in between, so the sentiment doesn't kind of vanish? Let's see, what else do I have? Because I sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, I have tons and tons of die cuts that I, you know, made for certain cards and then didn't end up using them. So maybe I can find something else or a different shape that I could use. Nothing in here. What about a heart? No, heart is not the way to go. Hold on. What was the question for the poll? I can't see the question. Oh, right. I just saw a question. Are there any sneaks yet of the new holiday class? Correct. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the upcoming holiday event. I will tell you in a second until I know. Use the hexagon or no. Okay, so it seems like the majority votes yes for a layer in between, and I agree. I think it helps. If I put it like this, it's also nice, also fine. But I think this helps make it stand out a little bit more. Now I will try something that I might regret in a second. And I will try ink blending the edges of this with the same sort of colors. And I just realized I put the yellow in the lower corner, even though I had it in the top left corner in the beginning. But since these lights, you know, they both look up and down, I think it doesn't really matter. But we will see. We will see. Let me grab something because I want a defined edge. So I want this to still be white, but I want this edge to maybe be a little bit more colorful. So I'm just grabbing the same brushes that I used for the lights and just using whatever ink is left on the brushes. I'm not inking them up again. Although for this blue, I probably should. It's not as saturated as my pink brush. Oh yes, vellum hexagon would also look really good. I think I'm gonna try this, what it looks like once it's colored, and if I don't like it, I might go vellum. That's a good idea. So I'm trying to replicate the same order that I have on my lights. Almost done. So give me a moment. I didn't plan any of this, so this is improvising, so I don't know how it turns out. I don't know if it is worth this work or not. We will see in a second. Okay. So you can see here, this is what I meant. So I wanted this sort of rainbow edge. But let's see if this also kind of translates onto the card. Like so. And I think I like that. Hold on, let me just grab this die set. Because this was also a piece that I just had left from whatever project. So it's not one that I cut specifically for this card. Was it this one? No. It's the blanket stitched hexagons. Where are they? Good question. Give me a second, and if I don't find them, I will move on. Okay, seems like I find every single essentials die except the blanket stitched hexagons. So I'm going to use instead the double stitched hexagons. They have the same shape and same size, but just a different edge. So I'm going to use these and die cut a vellum piece to show you. Give me a second. One second. Okay, so I cut two. I cut one that's the same size as the one that I have on my card right now. So instead of the hexagon, looks nice too, definitely. Or use this one and put a smaller vellum one in between, and then this, no. So I think I'm gonna go with the colored edge. I really like that. But you could definitely skip this and just do vellum, especially if you think more in this kind of, you know, mass producing idea. And I just realized my die for the hexagon shifted as well, so I didn't cut a full hexagon. So when will I learn that I should tape it down? I don't know. So yes, I will use the colored edge. I'm not going to put foam adhesive shocker in between this and the hexagon, even though, you know, I wouldn't mind it. So now I do have to pay attention that I put it the right way up so that the colored sections match. Although I just really like dimension in between layers. I think it, yeah. It's just, yeah, that's just me. I like my dimension. I like when it's visible, like when there's a real distinction between layers with shadow and dimension. Even if it's not much. Like just a millimeter can make a difference. But if this is too much for you, I totally understand. That's just one of my things. Because I feel like it just looks nicer. Pivot! Exactly. Okay. Now, putting this on here. And actually this could be, you know, you could be done with this, or you could just add some gems if you wanted to, or maybe just a few also a little bit color coordinated. I will show you what I mean. Ow. So you could do something like either go clear so that it matches everything on the card, or you could go with something like this and put like a little pink one here, another pink, like light pink. And you don't need to do it for every single section because that also might be overwhelming. So just a few, or like the iridescent dewdrops, because they do change color a little bit, or the iridescent clear drops. And don't worry, I know we have a little bit of time left. I'm quickly going to show you a different idea as well, because I have some die cut pieces left over from something else. So I think I'm just going to go do this with like 3 of the colors and do this sort of triangle. One really tiny one. Okay. And I know, you know, it's not necessary. You could definitely skip this step. And again, especially when we talk about mass producing, there are lots of steps that you could skip for the sake of mass producing. Where's my dual tip? Okay. I will never be able to do it like some people who hold one in one hand and one in the other. I don't know. If I try to do this with my left hand, it's not going to work. That was a bit much. Why can I never ever find my scrap paper or like post-it notes when I'm doing a live? Every single time. And you would think I would learn, but I don't. Trying it with my left. Okay. I'm not going to do more because I think that's question. Are dewdrops different from gems like sequins? Yes. So at least for ours, hold on. So this is what it looks like, and I really like the different colors. I thought the gems would be too much. I was wrong. I'm glad to hear that. So the difference, at least for ours, between gems, jewels, dewdrops, and so on, I'm just going to give you a quick overview, not go into too much detail. So clear drops have a flat back, and this is what I use. So these are all clear drops, and they have this sort of clear looking dome with different colors behind, or also clear. Then you have glitter drops that also have a flat back but are completely with colored glitter. Then they also come as ombre, where they have different colors in one piece. Then you have jewels. These have a flat back, but they're also kind of shaped, if you can see that. A little bit more like, yeah, jewels, like the word suggests. And then you have dewdrops, or you also have metallic pearls. They are completely colored in different metallic colors. And then you have dewdrops. We only have, no, these are not the ones. These, and they are kind of domed and clear, but with iridescence. So that was a quick rundown of the different types of gems, jewels, glitter drops that we have. And we have a few more minutes left. I'm not going to, start from scratch, but as I said, I have a few die cut pieces left. And I also wanted to use, so my initial idea, and I told Jody about this, but I also told you that I had about 1 million ideas before the live started. My initial idea was to use some alpha dies to spell out a sentiment, or a word, like joy, for example, and use this instead of a sentiment. So I already prepared some die cut pieces, and I wanted to mention it because, thank you so much that you like the card, because we still have a weekly promo. I will never learn it. A weekly promo, which right now is for 25% off all standalone dies, except those in the new category. And that includes, for example, the Kaitlin Alpha dies that I used to die cut this. And I feel like they give the perfect sort of Christmas look. I can't even describe it, but there are also, if you check out the product page for this, a lot of the project examples for it are for Christmas projects, and it fits perfectly. But also, shout out, Jody's Alpha. The Jody Alpha is also part of this weekly promo. And the fun thing about the Kaitlin Alpha is that you get the letter, like this piece right here, but you also get the outline that you don't need to use it. You could definitely use it without an outline, but you have the outline if you want to sort of make it stand out a little bit more or give it a little bit more stability. And you could also reverse it and do, and do glitter as the outline and white on top, which I think also looks really, really fun. So yeah, that's what I thought I could also show you, because this die, I don't think that it always needs the ink blended background, like even like this, or just dry embossed on a panel, I think would look nice. Or I had a different idea earlier, super quick. If you have the rainbow glimmer foil, sorry for that, the Kaitlin Alpha gives you the outline. The Jody Alpha is also great, and there's a lowercase and an uppercase, but it doesn't give you an outline. Now, if you have this, you could even cheat and do this. And you have a ready-made shiny rainbow. So yeah, that's also something that I wanted to point out. I'm not going to do it for this card, but I wanted to show you because I thought this was so quick and easy. Like, you know, can't get any quicker. So I had this piece still left. I had this frame from whatever card, I have no idea. And I had this, the letters that I cut. And I also have this from, and I have 5 more minutes. We will see if I get a second card done in 5 minutes. And this was made with the Timeless Tidings, also from the new release. And I thought I could try and see if maybe I can put together a card, a quick card with this. And just use the Christmas lights as sort of a backdrop. And yes, that for mass production, for example, the rainbow, or if you have rainbow cardstock or something, you know, just put that on the back and you are good to go. So I thought something like this, and then you could ink blend and die cut a few more of these. I don't think I have any left. Or I also have bits and pieces left from, I just want to show you all of the different possibilities you have with this set, because I feel like it might get overlooked a little bit, but it gives you so many options. Instead of this one, so these here are just some of the the tied with cheer wreaths that I just kind of cut apart, or just kind of ripped apart, so that I would have little branches that I could add on a card, like so. And then just, you know, put something on there. So yeah, lots of different options. Now, I will not adhere this right here because I definitely want to pop this up on foam, but I don't want to make you watch me do this again. So instead, I will just quickly put foam on here because that's quicker than the other background. Wow, have I made a mess behind me and next to me and everywhere. Now, I wanted to tell you about the Christmas or the holiday event. Still haven't talked about it. Mark your calendars, set your alarms on Friday, August 29th at 9 a.m. CT. The registration for the event will open. We will do a live unboxing of the event kit on Friday, if everything goes well, if I get my package with the products and everything in time, and you know, customs doesn't have different plans, then I will have the package by then, and I can unbox the October holiday event kit live with you on Friday. But if we do that, we will of course post it on our social media. We will send a newsletter and all of that, so you won't miss it. And the dates for the event are October 11th and 12th. So it's a weekend again, of course. Oh, that wasn't too clever. By the way, you could also add a shaker in here, but you know, I don't have that much time. And then the teachers, I won't reveal yet who is teaching. There are some who, I don't know if every one of them has taught with us before. I don't want to make any, you know, wrong claims. But in any case, they are all super talented, and I'm sure you will love them. And what else? Is there anything else I can reveal about the event yet? As I said, it's holiday themed. And yeah, it will be with lots of fun goodies and techniques and projects and all of the good stuff. Okay, so my time is almost up. I don't want to, overdo it and keep you here for much, much longer. But I will definitely finish this card after the live session. And then I will post both of these cards on our social media or my social media when they are done. So, hold on. Okay, let me just quickly switch my camera. You can see it's already getting dark, so my camera, my image is a little bit fussy, but I didn't want to turn on my super bright lights right now. And I think for saying goodbye, that should do. Yeah, I hope you liked these ideas. I know I threw a lot of ideas and sort of products at you, but still I hope that you were inspired for some sneak peek. So I will unbox the event kit with you, and saying that the event kit is still on its way to me, you will probably know that, I wouldn't be able to have any projects ready. So there are no sneak peeks of projects to share with you yet, but we will, I don't want to make any definite statements because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm pretty sure that we will share sneak peeks again during, when registration is open. Now, hold on, let me see. I think Jody picked a winner or randomly picked two winners. Yes, Casandra Graham and Leanne Pardee. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You won each a $50 gift card. Make sure to email customerservice@pinkfreshstudio.com to claim your prize. And then you can spend it on the new release, on some of the products I shared maybe. And don't forget that, for example, the Kaitlin Alpha dies are still part of the weekly promo until Thursday, 11:59 p.m. CT. So not much longer. And the freebie is until or while supplies last. So I know there were a few still left in stock, but not too many. What time is the unboxing on Friday? I think it will probably be noon CT, but we will confirm with like social media posts, and once you see it scheduled on our YouTube channel, then you will know. Okay. I hope I didn't miss any questions. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you so much for joining us and for spending this time with us. And next week, it's going to be Carissa again with fabulous inspiration. And until then, I hope you have a great day, a great week, and lots of fun. And I hope I will see you on Friday for the live unboxing. Take care, everyone. Bye.